Hi, this is Jeremy Bryden for Core S Squared Software Solutions. Today I'll be introducing Core Codex, which is a brand new product that Core S Squared has been working on. It is a Pylons-based web application, which was originally meant to teach me about the Python programming language, but actually turns out has started to becoming a pretty useful tool between friends and I, so I'm going to go ahead and release it to the public. So Core Codex is essentially a free, online, automated code judging site. The idea is that the user could go ahead and find a series of programming challenges they find interesting, write code for that challenge, and all of this code manipulates standard input and output streams. Have that code checked online, so we'll be checking compile time errors, runtime errors, and then the actual correctness of the user solution. And then we present the submitted results back to the user. So the website has been designed to try and be as simple and easy to use as possible. Currently, we're only supporting Python, though GCC-based C and C++ will be introduced pretty soon, and Java will eventually be added, as well as maybe some other languages. I'm researching C# mono support right now to see if we could get that going. So again, the website is Core Codex, so you could find it at corecodex.com. We're in an early alpha stage. You could go ahead and log in the top right, type in your user information, and once you're logged in, you could go ahead and access the general programming challenges. So select that from the top right. Here we have programming challenges groups, so each specific challenge is just grouped up. You could select either the top of the second row, there's only two right now. I do want to point out that this is an alpha, so a lot of the features are actually placeholders and not specifically implemented yet. On the right, you'll see that it says completion 0 out of 10. In reality, I've already completed all the programming challenges here, but the database is yet to be updated. So there's some smaller things like that beta testers should be aware of. So here we selected the first group. We have a description on the left as well as some problem resources. The idea is that if a professor, maybe for a university course, creates a new programming challenge group, they could go ahead and add special resources for those specific students, such as discussion forum, book references, or maybe a series of function references online. On the right, you'll see the programming challenges themselves. Everything can be ranked based on a difficulty or the challenge ID or the completion state. A user can just simply click on whatever they're interested in trying to solve. So here we're looking at a problem description for Alpha 1, add 2 more. This is just temporary alpha testing code that I kind of submitted. But here's one that's actually of a realistic kind of problem description. This programming problem is called Hello World. It's a 1-star difficulty, 1 out of 5, and the supported languages are Python and C++. And you could see all of that here at the top of the header description. From here on out, you could actually read the description of the problem itself. There's a list of formal inputs and outputs. In this case, since it's a very simple programming challenge of Hello World, we don't have a formal input or output list. And then, of course, problem descriptions can also include some other things such as sample inputs and outputs, maybe some more references, links if they want to. And on the very bottom, we have starter code. So if the programming description requires filling out a function instead of writing everything from scratch, which is, by the way, a great way to help people who are new to programming, then they could go ahead and do it that way. Also note is that any code submitted online gets parsed through our special syntax highlighter. So doesn't matter what the language is. It could be Python, C#, C++, Perl. There's a dozen others that we support. But what's neat is it doesn't matter what the language you post. The posted language is going to go ahead and be rendered beautifully online. So here we could submit our solution. You'll again notice that there's all the meta information at the top. And here we have the starter code. I'm not going to modify anything. I'm just going to submit the code. And from here, we get forwarded to the results page. And what's interesting about the results page is not only do you have the result itself, so here we have 0, which means failure. Again, this is an alpha, so we still have to map certain enumerations. But there's also helpful information such as the memory usage in kilobytes, the runtime usage in milliseconds, the source language used, and then what we actually submitted gets reparsed and represented online, as well as there's some general information such as what's the attempted versus success ratio, what's the average memory usage, what's the best usage that anyone submitted. The idea is that we want to create a competitive but an educational environment when you submit something, you might tell yourself, hey, I only use 12 kilobytes runtime, which is great, but I'm 2 kilobytes behind the number one developer. So let me go ahead and try to compete and reduce my code size. And for those that aren't interested in these kind of things, what's great is that our site also has an achievement system. Here I clicked on my username at the top, and you'll see on the right that I have user trophies. So depending on certain things, such as completion of a certain number of problems, or completion of a specific problem, or maybe I tricked the system, there's a dozen achievements that we have implemented, you'll get a user trophy, and a trophy is bound with a description, so you can kind of show it off to your friends that, hey, user Jeremy Bryden is a problem solver because I solved 10 different problems. There's also points associated here, so every account not only has achievements, but there's also points. It's just kind of a nice way to show off to your friends, again, to really try to help people get enthralled by programming, to really get into the idea of, I want to write the best code that I can. And of course, on the left, you have just general user information, user statistics. This is yet to be filled out because we haven't connected that to the server, to the database yet. So yeah, in the end, the website is still heavily being developed. It's in an alpha state. You could read more about licensing and then contacting us at the bottom of the page. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email at jbryden@cores2.com. And yeah, please visit the website, register an account, and test it out. If you see any bugs or weird things, let us know. And preferably, don't do any sort of SQL injections. We're still cleaning up some code there. All right, thank you very much for your time.